We're back, people, and today we're breaking a film on Chris Brooks, Miami Dolphins running back. I thought he was one of the biggest surprise standouts in this preseason Week 1 game. He definitely had some great film put out there, like on all different types of run concepts. He looked very effective. He was very efficient. I especially liked him on outside zone concepts. He looked very, very comfortable there, running like a seasoned vet, understanding how to, press and cut with good vision. He gets downhill pretty quickly. He's very decisive as a runner, and he's a bigger guy. Like, he has that size. He finishes his runs. He bounces off tackles. Now, I don't suspect him to make the Dolphins roster, just thinking they're only going to keep 4 guys, and he was really probably the 6th option right now that they're looking at. I think he's an ideal practice squad candidate. They should try to get him on that squad. I think he has some potential down the line, but he definitely proved his NFL level talent to me in Week 1. Just looking how he was running, it was very effective. There were some holding calls that even ruined his stats a bit too, but just like this play specifically, weak side outside zone, just looking down the line of scrimmage from here, just reading leverage of these blocks, leverage. He presses up to this block right here. You got to make your press and then you cut. It's just how you're supposed to do it on outside zone blocks. Usually if there's second level defenders, you can really manipulate them, get them to commit down. Even with the front line defenders, you get them to commit their gap, press again, and then he finds that cutback lane, shoots their hole, and then, get to the second level, third level players, kind of make them miss. He has some, a little bit finesse to his game for being a bigger back too. I just was really impressed takeaway with his game. We'll get to him running some other run concepts later on, but his outside zone looked really good early on with his ability to press, cut, very efficient, and then the vision to find those cutback lanes. Another similar play, this time, outside zone with a lead block from the fullback. He does another good job finding that cutback lane. Just very good job being patient. He stays square. He's just very technically sound. He's very efficient with his feet. Like, he's not the most athletic guy, but he does everything, at a very technical level, so it's all just smooth. He's like pressing up, he's reading this, he's seeing this backside opening up here, and he presses, makes his cut, presses up to this block now. He makes nice little 2 pressing cuts. Boom, efficient feet again, and you point that toe to where you want to go. Very good movement skills, understanding how to go there, and then he gets to the next guys, makes another man miss, runs in, drops those shoulders, fights through contact with multiple people, showing off some contact balance and ability to, be elusive. There is another holding call, but his process of this play is all very good. You can't, fault him for someone else holding on this play. Just very decent stuff from him. I like what I saw. It was a very advanced play style. These are my favorite types of runners on outside zone, that they understand how to press and cut. It gets people to bite down, overflow, like this linebacker overflows. He presses up towards this linebacker and then cuts around him too. That's how you make people miss. Uses his size to his advantage. We'll even see more of that later on where he's bouncing off some tackles. I thought he was one of the more he only played 13 snaps, and I thought in those 13 snaps he was one of the more impressive players the Dolphins had this past weekend. This time we get to see some split zone action out of shotgun, so a little bit different thing going on here, and he's just decisive downhill. Finishes his run too. Love how quickly, like we saw him pressing and cutting. Here on, more of a quick hitter, he sees the seam open up, and he just gets downhill in a hurry, shows that burst. And then you can see him making his move. He sticks out right from the ground. You can see the little fluidness in his hips there, able to step outside his frame and stick that from the ground and explode upfield. You can see that burst right there. Very impressive. He's not like the most fast guy, most quick lateral agility, but he does have that nice acceleration, which you're looking for out of a running back, especially a bigger guy like this. And then he drops, lowers his pads into second level defenders, fight through that contact, fall forward for extra yards. Honestly, if he did make the Dolphins roster, I just don't see it happening. It's very difficult with the guys they got, unless someone gets injured, before the season starts. But I do like his skill set and the complement of what the Dolphins have. So if they can get him at least on the practice squad, I'd be happy. But I think if he keeps showing out in the preseason like this, if he gets cut, he'll be one of those guys who gets picked up and gets a chance. Which, if he does, I'll be happy for him, because he definitely looks good out here. And it's, always fun to watch the undrafted guys really excel, because this is kind of their moment. This is their moment to shine, really get a look. And a lot of them can really make their names and, get that money for themselves. So happy for watching Brooks play. He's an exciting player, a little bit different than all the other running backs the Dolphins have, so it's pretty fun to watch him play in his preseason games. Look forward to seeing him play, in the following weeks. Now we get to see him out of shotgun again, but then in some, gap scheme action off some, guard tight end work right here. Does a good job working off the backs of his blocks and then finishing his run, bouncing off some tackles. He squares that guy up in the hole and is able to bounce off of him pretty nicely here. Same side as well as he's getting handed off to, working off the back of this. He's just pressing, he's staying patient, he's working off the back of his blocks, and him being patient, staying square, working up, not just bursting through this hole right away. allows his offensive lineman and tight end right here to get their blocks set up. If he just sort of runs through right away, this guy would have been, taking this angle over the top. It would have made it a harder angle for his offensive lineman to get on him. And since he shows that patience, he just gets Robert Jones to, meet his guy in space. Very perfectly timed out of him. Pretty savvy veteran move from the running back. And then, boom, drop the shoulder. This guy goes really low. Usually this takes out your knees, and he just pops up, pops out of it, falls forward, bounces into another guy. Impressive work. Really like his all-around game, especially as a runner. I'll show it the next play is a receiving rep. He's not going to, add a lot of value as like a route runner, but he has some solid hands and can be a flat option. But I just love him as a runner. Gap scheme, inside zone stuff, split zone stuff. He's very decisive, just gets downhill. Outside zone, he shows a lot of patience. Even in gap scheme, like he'll show patience until that block is developed, and then he just shoots. And then same thing with outside zone, he'll just press, cut, and then when it's time to burst through that hole, he'll hit it very hard. Very seasoned, savvy, veteran type of player as an undrafted rookie. Last play I'm going to break down for Chris Brooks. We get him on some receiving work here, just out in the flat, off the play action. Get your head around, catch the ball with your hands pretty naturally. Make that guy miss, showing off a stiff arm. He ends up going out of bounds. But nice to see him working out in space a little bit. You got to be able to do this at least. If you're a bigger back and you can catch out of the backfield, you show soft hands, at least be a check down option. Understand where you're supposed to be. Seems like a smart player. Catches the ball pretty naturally there. Obviously, want to see more of him as a receiver. This is the only real play we got to see like that. And then getting out there out in space, able to, make a guy miss or bounce off tackles, pick up at least a few extra yards. It's nice to see him. He still, even though he goes out of bounds here, he stays on his feet. He has at least that feel in space, pick up your feet, use that offhand as a stiff arm. All nice things to see from an undrafted guy. Hoping he at least makes the practice squad for the Dolphins. If he doesn't, hoping he sticks to somewhere else, like makes a roster possibly. There's a lot of good running backs in the league, but I think, out of the undrafted guys, Dolphins have a lot of bodies at the running back position, don't have a lot of top end. They don't have like a top end running back. Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Devon A-Chain, they're all obviously going to make the roster. And then I think they really like Savon Ahmed, and I think he has a very strong chance. And I just don't see any of them keeping more than 4, especially they also have a fullback. It's just unlikely they would keep any more guys. I think, Gaskin doesn't make it. Even though Gaskin and Chris Brooks both looked really good in this game, they just have too many bodies there. So hopefully he gets his chance somewhere, at least a practice squad. Really liked what I saw from him. Hopefully we see some more, and he's definitely going to get some more action. I mean, especially late in games, he'll probably have, the third preseason game, fourth quarter, and maybe entire second half just to go to work for sure. So if you guys are into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.